Okay, let me, get back.
There we go. Hello.
Hello.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here with you right now.
I know. This is awesome. Feels like we've been talking for
over a year.
Ever. Yeah.
You did that thing with me for the 5 days. That was when I created the Anti Framework Playbook right before that. So that would have been over a year at least.
Yeah. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I was right in the midst of like, okay, this is what this means. And
Yes.
I'm in the middle of burnout. And
yes.
Then I think I saw you on Threads.
Yes.
And I was like, feral, absolutely. You know.
Girl,
I was like, this is my people. We're not trying to be all sweet and shy or shit like.
Oh, we're here to be
ourselves.
And
so I joined that, which I was so excited because at the time I was like, oh, I'm so sick of everybody being like, this is my framework. This is my methodology. Like,
So when you saw anti-framework, you were like,
I was like,
sold.
Yeah. And I knew you were testing it. And I am a curious little cat. And I was like, I want to see what she's doing.
Yeah.
I was a nosy little fucker.
No, but I like that. I like that.
It was like,
you also helped me shape it too. Your feedback and everything was so helpful.
And it was kind of like one of those times where, you know, when you're just exploring it and all that stuff, like what your diagnosis means, how does that show up differently?
Yeah.
And you get a lot of aha moments about what happened in your life, right?
Yes.
But also, I was at that point, I was really starting to see, oh, that's why those coaches did not help me at all.
Right.
They had no idea what my brain was like. And
Isn't that interesting?
It's right. And they kept just being like, just, you know, and this isn't what they said, but it's essentially just do it.
Why can't you just?
Yeah, why if I hear that fucking phrase
one more time. I'm telling you, it's one of our least favorite phrases.
It is.
Why can't you just do this?
If I just could, I would be fucking running the world. Okay?
Girl, like, you know why they gave us brains like this? To slow us down.
Exactly.
World domination.
And we make the men uncomfortable.
Yes, true.
You know.
Especially the white ones, the old white ones. So no offense. I created a white male, but we made sure he understood his what he's here to do on the planet is, be a good person.
Yeah. So, and, you know, what privilege he gets just because of that. Not that he doesn't have his own things, right?
He does.
Yeah. And I think that's just such a missing conversation. Anyways.
Great.
So I'm glad we're doing this. It's kind of a dual.
I'm like so stoked.
It's like a dual podcast, kind of.
It is. It's your podcast and my podcast.
Yes.
At the same time, but at different places.
Because yours is nicely branded. I'm just now getting into Riverside, so I don't have this cute thing that you have on your Riverside.
I didn't have this here until recently. Just so you know, and I've been in Riverside for 4 years.
Yeah. Like,
don't feel bad.
No, but I love it because, you know, a lot of times when you talk about getting a guest on your podcast, like you host it, you do this, whatever.
Yeah.
Or even switching, right? Yeah. And we talked about that. And I love that we were like, you know what? Let's make it so simple for our brains and just do one and then just cross post it.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. And it's funny because when I did that, me and my behind the scenes maven, Brooke, she and I are creating an offer and we're going to do it in real time and record it and make it an episode. And I'm so fucking excited because one, we're excited about this. But two, we're excited to kind of show because I'm like the logistics front end strategy type thing. And then she is going to help with all of the stuff that is on the back side, which you know well too. So
I do. I love
being excited.
It's different when you start to be the front person.
Yes.
I'm still a solo, so I don't, have that. But I'm also keeping it simple right now, which you've talked about a lot. But I saw that you wrote that in your stories and I was like, oh my gosh, I love it. Like, I want to do live strategy sessions on my podcast, you know? Because I'm just like, one, I'm going to give you a free strategy session and it's going to go as long as it goes. But it's also like the best way I know to show people how strategy can be different.
Yes.
You know?
And how your second brain comes in, how it's like they're going to have their brain and their idea. Like, one of the things, because we're talking about the self-trust gap, one of the things with self-trust gap is people will come to me at first, my clients will come to me and they'll be like, is this a good idea? Do we like this? And then eventually it's not that. It's, this is what I want to do. Help me execute it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very different.
Right. And that's why I was like, when I renamed my podcast, I was like, The Reframe, it was right around the time you were starting to talk about a lot about the self-trust gap. And I was like, this is such an important reframe for a lot of us, especially late diagnosed. Like, that's who you're talking about. You know, it's like, because you enter the online space and everybody's like, that's just imposter syndrome. You just got to do X. And I was like, if it was literally just, because I remember being like, it's not imposter syndrome. I know what the fuck I can do.
Yes.
I know how good I can be.
Yes.
I've seen what I can do.
Yes.
But when I go to try to like execute it or like take the idea from idea to thing and put it out there, there's so many reasons, but it was kind of getting labeled as like, oh, it's just imposter syndrome. I was like, I don't think that's what that is.
No, because we're not afraid. We're not afraid. We have a lack of risk aversion in a lot of ways.
We do, especially if you have, so I'm now, like I understand now I'm ADHD, so autistic and ADHD. So there's different parts of my brain and they're a little bit at war with each other. It's an interesting
it's funny you should say that, my dear friend.
I saw that on your stories. I was like, oh my gosh.
I'm reading Unmasking Autism and I'm like, all right, well, we unmasked the ADHD so we could see the sibling. Hiding behind that is the rest. And I was like, now, I do not have a diagnosis yet.
Sure. And you're just like, oh, I see a lot of myself in here.
Shit. Well, I had my ADHD diagnosis already, but autism hadn't really made its appearance. And it may not be it, but I'm reading this book. I'm like, okay. It's just really, it was just like, okay, this could be a possibility that I'm going to explore, but it's not something I have to have in concrete because I just understand my brain is divergent.
Right.
That's enough.
And I think that's important to note because I see a lot of people I've seen, obviously I get on the algorithm now where other women are discovering they are ADHD. And I'm like, I'm with you. I get it. And there's different ways it happens. I was ADHD first too.
Same,
and I think a lot of us are, you know, like I think it was the first one maybe that got loud as far as like other women were talking to each other. Like, oh, the hyperactivity is not like I'm bouncing off the walls, you know,
it's internal.
That kind of thing. Yeah. In all the ways it shows up differently. And, you know, as someone who worked with an organization who did autism research, the irony is thick. I've seen the old boys club, if you will, not even old boys club, but like the rhetoric in that. And I think people are starting to talk about how it shows up differently in girls and women, but it's way less. I think it's a little further down the line than ADHD is at this point.
Agreed.
And so, but I've seen some people post like, well, I got on medication for my ADHD and that's great. And then all of a sudden, oh, there's some autism.
If I could tell you how many times I've seen that reel and thought, oh, that's really funny.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, motherfucker. Yeah. Sorry, am I allowed to swear?
Of course. Like I put it in my like write up about my podcast, like caveat, like just so you know, I'm going to fucking say fuck a lot.
A lot.
Like it's like the best word. You cannot.
It's it's so useful.
It's so versatile
in so many ways. It means so many things. But anyway, yes.
But I was pretty resistant. Again, I had worked in this organization for 4 years, and I ran it, and I was like, looking back, I'm like, oh, that's why I really understood the autistic researchers because now there's some like, And I'm like, oh, because a lot of the board members would be like, why are they asking these things? I was like, it makes perfect sense to me, Yes, and now understanding, some of the research around, how neurodivergence can talk to neurodivergence, no issue. Same thing with neurotypicals, but it's that cross that, we stumble. Yes. Everybody stumbles, but it gets labeled an us problem.
Yes.
But I think now looking back, I'm like, oh, that's why I could speak the language of everyone.
Yes.
So, the adaptability, the chameleon thing, Like, you know, you think it's like a strong suit. You're like, I'm so adaptable. It's like, or I'm really good at masking by the situation. And it, you know, like burns you out and stuff. But I remember my therapist was like, she's like, I think, you know, we should evaluate you for autism. I was like, what?
Love it. No.
I am like,
all of us probably do that.
Right?
No.
I'm like, I mean, I was the same way. I have had horrible anxiety for a long time. And I've talked about this before, but I did this like brain mapping thing when I was trying to get better. And it highlights different parts of your brain as you're doing things. And the guy who was reading it.
You mean neurofeedback?
Yeah. Yeah. And he's like an expert, right? And he's like, oh, wow, you are like textbook for ADD. I was like, it's like, no, because my brother had gotten it and like diagnosed in high school, showed up the typical way. And again, how they talk about it, right, is like the focus thing and all that. And I was like, I get really good grades and I can read for hours on end. You know, needless to say, no one can talk to me or I don't hear them.
Or I will eat your head off.
Right. I was like, absolutely not. That was like the first indication, probably. You know?
You're like, no, definitely no. Definitely not. Definitely not. Definitely no. Not at all. 300% no.
I also do not have the PDA profile at all. No. Right. No, not at all.
You don't have the PDA. Bullshit. We all have stuff. Oh my God. The PDA is ridiculous. And if you're listening and you don't know what we're talking about, we're not talking about public displays of affection. Okay.
No. We're not.
Pathological.
Defiance, avoidance.
Demand avoidance.
Demand avoidance. Some people I call it defiance because
it is pathological it is a defiance, essentially.
Yes, it is.
You tell me I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I have a client who was told she didn't need a PhD not to get her PhD, so she got her PhD despite the person. Sure. That's how deep the PDA will run.
Well, and what's interesting, so I get all the way through this and, you know, get the diagnosis for both. And I'm like, great, another combo platter over here. And like, I can't take credit for that. I interviewed Claire. I was like, I'll take the number 17. Thank you. Claire Panacea was on my podcast last week. And
I love her. We love her. Yes.
And I was like, and she said that. And I was like, that's exactly what it is. It's like, and they just keep adding dividers to the plate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a lot.
Yeah. Well, I think for me now, once I got past the ADHD part, anything else is just like, okay, this comes with my divergent brain. Like it's not,
right.
I feel like for me, it wasn't as big of a shock. Okay, look. Okay, let me say that again. The last few days that I've been listening to this audiobook, did you see my shoulders just go up to my ears?
Yeah. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. No big deal. It's okay.
Totally
as I'm reading this, a couple of reactions are happening. Nodding.
Mm-hmm.
Hand on the mouth. And mouth gaping open for 2 or 3 minutes without me realizing it. Those are some of the reactions. So I'm like, okay, well, if I'm having these kind of reactions, then that means that it's striking some sort of nerve. So for me, it's more like, okay, I understand this now. It's another, like you said, layer to the combo platter. Yeah. And okay, so now I just have an understanding
page in my
of that.
book. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I processed it a little bit differently because I still at that point grappling with what does it mean to have ADHD, especially as things were happening in my business. It was just like, I think we're all like this, but I don't do anything half-assed. If I'm going to unmask and get these 2 diagnoses, I'm going to have some professional crises at the same time.
Yes.
And, you know, it's like, we're just going to do it all. And so it just was kind of like that. And then she started talking about the PDA profile thing. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, stop labeling me.
Stop describing me with every descriptor that you possibly could that's accurate. Please don't do that.
Well, and like, now we're this far into it. And she's like, so, you know, I work with a lot of clients she works with a lot of neurodivergence. And she's like, there's different ways, obviously, the PDA profile shows up just as anything with a neurodivergent. And she's like, unfortunately, it seems like you have the external and the internal. I was like, yeah, it's fun. Because that means I don't like anyone or anything that feels like a demand on me externally, I also do it to myself. I cannot tell myself we're going to do X or I will do the opposite.
Right.
And I'm just like, you know what? I would like to return this combo. Thank you. I would like something different. I want to substitute here.
I'd like to return this conversation, please, for another. I would like to I would like to reorder.
Yeah, I'm gonna go full Karen, and I need to speak to the manager.
Right.
Like, what is this? What is going on?
You're killing me, Larry.
Yeah,
so funny. Not funny, haha, but funny. Like
funny, totally like we've all been there, and we're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that's why when I started seeing you talk about like the self-trust gap, I was like, fucking finally someone's like named it. And I think that's why I was like, oh my gosh, she's like the perfect person to have on the reframe.
Yeah.
Because I've even had people, when I post on social media something, you know, those like things where people do autism, ADHD, like it's a conversation.
Yes.
Or whatever. Or tell me you're a neurodivergent entrepreneur, like Monday. Things are fucking amazing. I have the best idea. I'm so good. Friday, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
You know, like that thing. And then I posted that. Someone literally commented, I'm going to hold your hand while you say this. And like, that's imposter syndrome.
Oh, interesting.
And I was like, or she's like, that's not ADHD. That's imposter syndrome. I was like, oh, are you a doctor?
Well, yeah. And everybody is a doctor now, like Dr. Google, Dr. AI, Dr. whatever, but I'm going to go with the specialist who's a clinician.
Yeah.
Who's reviewing my actual history in life. That is who I'm going to listen to. Or there's a couple of trusted neuroscientists that I trust personally, and everybody trusts different people.
Yeah.
So I'm,
it was just such a weird thing. And I posted, it was sometime last year. I was burnt out. My nervous system was haywire. So it was already felt like a thing to even post.
Right.
And I got that and I was like, okay, I archived it because I was so flared up from things that I couldn't even sustain it.
Yeah.
But obviously as I processed it, I was like, one, don't touch me. Like when someone says, I'm going to hold your hand while you say this. No, thank you. I don't like this sentiment. Like I saw someone post, I'm going to hold you by a hockey stick and why I say this. And I was like, that's more my vibe. But it was also like, I don't think it's cool to label someone's post and say, that's actually imposter syndrome. That's not what you're describing. But it hit a nerve. And so then when I started seeing you talk about, it's not imposter syndrome. It's this self-trust gap that you're dealing with as having had your whole life been, feeling off and all that. So like, how did that come about for you? Like, how did that start to become a focus?
I started working exclusively with neurodivergent women almost out of the gate after I got through my own dark night of the soul, as I jokingly call it, my 4-month dark night of the soul. Yeah. So once I was out of that, I started working with women with ADHD. And what I started seeing happening was they would come in saying, I imposter syndrome, like across the board. Like that is the term that every single one of them would use. Mm-hmm. And I started noticing that was not the problem. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm like, it wasn't the problem in her. And as I'm going down the list of my clients, I'm like, they didn't trust themselves at all. Mm-hmm. And I helped them learn to trust themselves without them realizing that's what I was doing.
Right. And so you were seeing the after effects of that.
Correct. And it changed very clearly. There were physical cues, content cues, the way that they showed up in stories or sold, and the way that they use language. When I would see them talk on the back end in the call with me is exactly how they started showing up.
Yeah. Like
instead of a different version. And like when they started doing that, their clients, more of their type of ideal client came and hired them. And then they're like, oh, and they never went back again because I heard one of my favorite neuroscientists on Instagram is Dr. Chris Lee, because he's spicy like us too. And he was talking about how we need proof, not just affirmations. We need affirmations that come with proof And I was like, you remember my proof of opposite, Emily?
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I saw that and I saw proof of opposite and I was like, okay, I'm on to something here. So I just knew that we love the woo and evidence. Yes. I've joked that I'm a little Gabby Bernstein and a little Neil deGrasse Tyson, but I joke, but that's true.
That's true.
Give me some facts, but I'm going to take those facts and I'm going to shoot it into the woo woo.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like, so I just started seeing this pattern over and over again. And I was like, this is a gap in their self-trust.
Yeah.
And that's the clever name of the self-trust gap.
Sometimes it doesn't need to be clever. It just needs to be real clear.
No.
Because you're being clever and talking about it. So.
Correct. But what it shows up as is this lifetime of not trusting yourself and a lifetime of being told you can't be trusted. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite doctors talked about the fact that now, I don't know how you actually measure this, and that's just like the retentive part of me. Right. But he said we get 20,000 more negative messages than our neurotypical counterparts before the age of 10. I've seen it 10, I've seen it 12. If I go back to his original article in 2016, I think it's by the age 10, but I can find that. So if we're hearing that many more negative messages by then, and then we don't know we have neurodivergence, and then we go into adulthood with those messages continuing to come at us. Yep. Guess what we start believe?
What I found interesting was when you were posting of it, I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like that describes so much of what you feel like. And I think you were putting words to something that as the person going through it, you don't always see it that way. You're like, no, I just need an X. We think we need whatever. Right.
Right.
Or you just need someone to like validate what you're saying. And it's like, but we've stopped validating our own things at some point. And I think it's interesting what you're saying about the negative, that we input. And it could be like direct things like you're too much, you're too sensitive, whatever. I also think, I think it's also for me been, it almost feels like gaslighting sometimes.
Yes.
And it's really like subtle.
Yes.
But it's like you're making too much of something essentially,
Yes.
when I'm literally seeing a pattern and I'm like, but it's right there.
Well,
and
sometimes you can't see it before the world's ready. And then people are like, it's like, what's that phrase? They'll tell you they'll call you crazy and then they'll call you and ask you how you did it. So they may,
Yeah. And so I think that's really interesting that you were seeing so many clients like
not so many, every that came to me, every one of you. It was never imposter syndrome for any of them, any of you, anyone who's come through a group program. I would say, I can say 100%, but that's 100% of my own experience. Mm-hmm. But every client I've worked with has come in thinking they have imposter syndrome and realizing that wasn't it. And not only realizing that wasn't it, but they didn't have to fix themselves. They learned a skill.
Yeah.
You're not, it isn't about something's broken inside of you. It's that you have been taught not to trust yourself. So guess what? You have to teach yourself to trust you again. Mm-hmm. And if I thought, because I got diagnosed at 49 with ADHD, if I thought that after 49 years that was just going to flip overnight, I was kidding myself.
As much as we want it to.
Oh, well, we want things yesterday.
Exactly.
You know, we're not exactly patient, which is what makes us good entrepreneurs in some ways.
Yes, it does. And it can be tough, but I think that's the thing is like the feeling of there's so much that goes into once you get a diagnosis or you understand whether it's official diagnosis or not. Once you understand that this is how your brain works.
Right.
And it's most often late for a lot of us women. Mm-hmm. It is. You go through this process of kind of a different lens to look at everything you've experienced. And that, I think the older you are, the more you have to look back on. And so, there's things you clock immediately, like, oh, that's what that was or whatever.
Yes.
But I think it wasn't until the end of last year I started to be like, oh, so I do see things. I do see patterns. I do understand what's coming. And sometimes the sucky thing is sometimes I can have a hard time articulating that.
You're again not the only one, because for loquacious people, we have trouble articulating shit. You know why? Because we love words and they want us to use 7-word hooks.
I'm like, I can barely get through an intro in a minute. Like, what are you trying to do? Like, you want me to, like, a whole thought in a minute?
Well, that's why I love creating my podcast and pulling my content and everything hooks from there, because it's my own words coming out in real time, as opposed to try to sit down and think of this content right this moment. Right?
Yeah.
So I have ways to do that. And then I have other content that comes, and I allow myself to do both. I stopped giving myself certain rules to see what my own natural body and brain wanted to do. And then I built my schedule around that. For example, I used to think I had to have a CEO day. That was just something you had, was a CEO day. So I had CEO days. I fucking hate that.
Yes. Same. I did the same thing.
I want the 7 things I have to get done over the week to be done on 7 different days. And that way I have one thing I'm doing that day and I'm done. Because if I sit down and think I have 17 things to do, they're not going to get done. Guess what happens now? I get to start at 10 o'clock in the morning now.
Yes. Yes.
It's me first, then my clients.
Yes.
That's self-trust. I had to trust enough that I could not do what everybody else is touting they're doing, even though I've been the one touting I'm doing it, because I was. And I thought it was helping me until I realized it wasn't. And when I finally started, again, putting my own blinders on and thinking, what works for me? Stop looking at everybody else. What is my natural life flow? What is my husband and I? What do we like to do? What do I want to do at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? Take a bath. I'm fucking, I love that. But at 8 o'clock at night is when I like creating content sometimes. Other times it's 7 in the morning. And sometimes I might have a season where I love doing something, and then after a quarter, my body and brain are like, we don't like doing it this way. Okay. I have a business that allows for all of that nuance. Because I stopped trying to put the frameworks on myself that others were giving me, and thought, what parts of this framework do I like? What part of that do I, And when I started trusting myself, the biggest one was when I started doing my deep dives. My deep dives are the magical piece. They're the thing that makes my ability to help women in their business so big, is because you give me the whole picture. It's imprinted in my brain once you're a client of mine. And I'm going to think of something for you at 7 o'clock at night.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to write it down and I'm going to tell it to you.
Yes, exactly. And I think
because I don't, it's like how we run our business gets to be how we want it to. We just think we have to do a certain way because we see it everywhere. Close your eyes. I'm not saying don't do market research. Don't be dumb.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But what I am saying is stop paying attention to everybody in your own niche for a month or 2 or 3 and watch what starts happening to your own business and your own ideas. You start getting the fuck out of your own way.
Yeah. And I think, that has been a hard thing for me to put the blinders on. And I'm a just Enneagram type 5. Like, give me every piece of information. It's the back end operational side of me. I'm like, how are you putting that together? How are you running that? I want all of the details. And what happens when I try to see those things, because I'm just interested, is inevitably I'm consuming something. And so our brains, as you know, man, you just like latch on to things and you don't even realize it until a couple days later, and you're like fucking spiraling on something. And you're like, I don't even want to do this. What the fuck?
Why do I care? It's like, why do I care? Yeah, that's one of the biggest things. Like when I'm having conversations or I'm pointing something out, I'm noticing there are thoughts that I have that sometimes I would say, and I'm like, I don't even really need to say that. Like, I can just not, And so I started doing more of that. And it wasn't a matter of censorship. It's like, that's just extra. That's just extra energy, extra effort for my brain, my body. I don't need to do that. Man, my life is a lot more chill.
Yeah, that's great. I think sometimes you think you've done that. To a certain point, you've created the business for yourself. And then I think it's always a matter of, there's another layer. There's always like another layer, I feel like, as you do stuff. Where you're like, oh, why am I doing this? You just start to get to this point where you're like, why the fuck? Why am I doing this? And it's not immediate. It takes time.
It's creating extra work for yourself because you think that if you are not working what you believe is hard and making it look hard, because that's what we're supposed to do, when to so many of this, it comes easy. But we think that if it comes easy, it must be wrong because we're missing something.
Yes.
But we're some of the most accidental
thing.
Yeah. We're some of the most accidental millionaires because when we get out of our way and stop fucking laying down across our own feet and just run.
Yeah.
And look back at how it all happened later and then teach it.
Yes. Yes. And so we've obviously talked in the DMs off and on, I've done those couple things, but, just checking in and stuff. Yeah. And, I think it's been really interesting to see even just your evolution since I started following you and we started connecting. Because I can't help but notice details, right? So I'm like, oh, she updated her bio. Oh, that's different. Do you know what I mean? I'm always clocking that when someone's in my
you know
brain,
why? Because we don't, because some people roar that out loud. I changed my bio, everyone. Look at it. It's changed.
Yeah.
I love my bio.
I do that every week.
And I'm just like, let's see how I feel about this one.
Yes.
Yeah. Let me change this word to that word. Yes. It means nothing.
It doesn't.
To me, it does. Not anybody else.
No.
So I stopped trying to do that stuff as much.
Yeah.
Guess what I got a lot back of? My time. It's crazy, y'all.
And just even the mental space of, I just recently have been going through this of okay, I'm, doing different things, wanting to work with people as a second brain strategist and growth partner one-on-one, and be with them in their business because that's where I'm really fucking good.
Yes.
And I was defaulting to the typical create an offer.
Right.
And,
have
a framework.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And specific. And I was like, and I've created so many offers.
As my behind the scene maven calls it, the offer graveyard of the neurodivergent people.
Oh my God.
We all have
many.
Them. Yes. Yeah. So many.
And having been in a back end person, they all work.
Oh yeah.
I
they're not bad.
No.
And in fact, that.
I go back and look at them now. I'm like, oh, I can pull that out if someone needs something like that. So it's not, I don't look at it like wasted time because
because you could always pull that offer out on the, you could pull that offer out on the back end if somebody's working with you and you're like, well, actually, this isn't something in this offer, but I do have this offer together where I do this and that, and then offer it to them at whatever price point you want to for that moment based on where you are. Yeah, absolutely. That's rad.
And I kept trying to, and I think we've all been guilty of this, especially when you have these kind of fun brains, is I wanted the roadmap, but don't tell me what to do. You know what I mean?
I do.
Give me the roadmap, give me the steps so I know what I don't want to do and I can make my own. But don't try to make me do that because I don't want to, but I still need it. I don't want a blank page. So what am I supposed to do? Okay, I'm going to do this.
Right.
Oh my God. And it's I spent a year in that because I was burnt out. I was unmasking. And I was like, you know what's a good to do right now? Create a bunch of offers. That's what
that while I am going through this spiral, let's just put all these offers together because you can't work on something that's actually going to work.
No.
Not in that moment because you're going through the emotional piece of it.
I was loving my procrastination actions, as I call them, because it feels like you're doing something. And it gives me dopamine. There is a moment when tech works that I'm just like, oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's almost orgasmic. I get it.
Yeah, it's so satisfying. And I love mapping out workflows. So doing it for myself was like, this is so fun. But was it doing anything for me? No.
Well, yes, it was though, wasn't it?
Well, it was. It was showing me where I was already really good.
It was showing you the systems. It was showing you how to map that out so that when somebody needed it, I'm sure you learned from it. But I did. Get it. Feels like a waste.
I think what I learned from it was, okay, so creating the offer is not the issue.
Never is. No. Ever.
And I, as much as I want to have that quippy one-liner, signature offer right now in my business and in this space, that's not where I'm at.
Right.
And I have the right to redecide that at any point. But I had to give myself permission to be like, you know what? The best thing I can do is get people on a call with me. Like the best thing I can do. Like they can experience me and then I can see where they're at. What do they need? Maybe they don't need like monthly. Maybe they just need a package of calls, you know?
Right.
And I'm still in that mode of I want a very nicely packaged offer and I have so many of them and I have to resist sometimes when I see things and I'm like, oh, that would be nice.
Right.
But I'm like, no, I don't
You're
have
like,
the
I
data.
could whip that up in 2 seconds. So if you ever needed it, you could whip it up in 2 seconds. You're like, I could. Just because I can doesn't mean I should.
Yes, exactly. And that's been something I've had to like learn to be like, clock the kind of impulse and the like, ooh, that sounds good.
Right.
And be like, that's actually not what I want.
Right.
And I can, redirect it a little bit, but it's taken me a year and a half to learn how to shorten my spirals.
Yeah.
And it's been great. And I'm doing a lot of different things and I feel like I'm at a growth point. And I still am like, I want the strategy. I want the like step by step. And I don't.
Well, I'll tell you what I tell clients or people who are possibly going to work with me or anybody listening. Here's our brain in real time. Do not tell me what to do, but low key, tell me exactly what to do to fix my shit and I will do it. Because I would rather do work that gets me somewhere than work that I'm doing for no good reason.
Yes.
Or
if you're extra spicy, it's literally, don't tell me what to do, but give me all the steps that you did and tell me what I should do that would work for me. And then I'm going to do the opposite because I don't actually agree with you and I want to do something different, but then I'm going to come back to you in 6 months and I'm going to ask you what I should do. You're going to have to tell me so I can know what to do. And then I'm going to build my own roadmap in about a year.
Well, but now that you know this about yourself, it's easier
to
see it happening in real time than in the beginning. Because in the beginning, when you're a baby, neurospicy person, entrepreneur, when you're a baby in that process, a lot of us have been business owners for a while and we're like, why is nothing working?
Yes.
Or why is this working-ish?
Ish.
Right? And then somebody's like, here are some glasses. Now you can see 2020. And you put them on and you're like, oh, and then it works. You're like, oh, because like what I teach my clients in marketing is sell how you do things.
Yeah.
So for me, I wouldn't say, I don't sell my offers. I mention them to brand them. That's it.
Right. Yep.
But when I talk about working with somebody, it's never this offer, that over the other offer.
Yeah.
It's if you want this and you want this and you want that, if you aren't this, but you are that, if you are a coach who's in this full time, but you can't seem to get your footing under you and it's year 5 and you're like, what the fuck? Right? You want a coach who, you want a mentor who, you want a strategist who, you want a person to come in who can. And then you talk about your attributes. Guess what happens? That's a lighthouse for your person.
Yeah.
So I teach my clients to market themselves and their unique, I call it unique genius positioning.
Yes.
So that's your attributes that all go together that make your magic sauce what it is. And when you market that, instead of trying to market this perfectly packaged offer, it makes life so much easier because then you can literally hand them any offer you want of your 17 in the graveyard.
Exactly.
So that helps us market easier.
It does. And I think something I had to learn over the last year and a half was yes and. For me, that is the best phrase I could ever have for myself. Yes, I can start to talk about my attributes, but my combo plate brain wants me also to know how that connects to things. And so it's been a struggle. Like I was doing that first summit I did this year.
Right.
And I was like, okay, why am I having why can't I just go record it? I know exactly what I want to talk about. It's exactly like I knew, right? I was like, what? And so then you spiral because you make it about you. But a lot of times underneath my spirals is an actual thing that feels off.
Right.
And I jump to make meaning about it. So I miss that signal. And now I'm catching the signal. And in that instance, it was, I couldn't make it completely in a silo. I needed to understand, okay, if I'm doing this presentation, they're going to come in. I'm going to be pitching them this. How is this connecting to overall what I do? Because it was a different kind of summit. It was more about taking bold moves and stuff. It wasn't operational. It wasn't like I was teaching something.
Right.
And it was, more of a framework for like walking yourself through the spirals.
Right.
I was like, I have to see how this connects. As soon as I took even a minute and I wrote down a note, it was like click, and I recorded the presentation.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So,
well, sometimes our brains need a runway. Sometimes it needs a written runway. Sometimes it needs a verbal runway. Sometimes I'll go to record a podcast episode. It's not coming out.
Yeah.
I let myself sleep and I turn it on the next morning and it just flows out of me with no notes. So
yes, it's learning what works for you. And I think even in like us being fellow neurodivergent entrepreneurs, we have differences. And I think that doesn't always get talked about enough, that even what works for me or what I found helpful may not work for you. And it does take time to get to that level of discernment for yourself of like,
well, that's the thing, is that we have to stop thinking everybody else has to have perfect discernment for who we are.
Yeah.
Because that's lame. That's not real. That's like so self-centered. But on the flip side, we have to make sure we are giving ourselves whatever accommodations we need. We don't need to expect anything from anybody else. We need to expect from ourselves, whether we need to speak up, whether we need to ask for something. That is on us. People aren't mind readers. So, but I also agree there's a difference between just like anxiety and depression, between autism, ADHD, and the combo. Those are three separate things as far as we know
and
now.
It's different for
all
every
a spectrum.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think all of it presents differently.
Yes.
When you're on the spectrum. And it took a while to realize that, because I think we're so inundated with the neurotypical linear thinking.
Right.
That's not what we mean by the spectrum thing.
No.
No.
Well, and for being so, it's funny because some of us are so linear and some of us are so all over the place. But what's funny is we all speak each other's language anyway.
Yep. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, because we know what's going on, we are more easily adapted to the other person, and we're more easily adapted to ourselves. Yeah. We see something in someone else where it's like, oh, I experienced that. I should be a little nicer to myself about it.
Yeah.
I don't expect the world to bend to everything for me, but because I can have my own level of discernment. But I truly do think that we have to do those things. We have to think about those things in business. Yeah. That's why I love working with ADHD, ADHD, and autistic women, because we each bring something different to the table, and we can all speak to each other in a way that doesn't feel judgmental or overwhelming. So I think that is part of it. Is we each are nuanced, if we are each nuanced too.
Yes, which nuance and context are my favorite words. And just as consent is sexy, context is sexy. Give me context. I don't love, my brain really struggles when I see absolutes.
Yeah, tell me why.
I'm like, give me the data. Show me, like how the youngins say, show me the receipts.
Right.
I'm just like, when I know things are out of context, it sticks in my brain, and I'm just like, it really messes with me. And I think I've had to be like, that's okay. It's okay. My brain works that way. I can't expect that Susie Q on Instagram understands why her post is bad, because she's leaving out a big chunk of context, and I have to let that go. And sometimes that's easy and sometimes it's not.
Oh, God. Sometimes it's hard. I mean, I find things at home that I have trouble letting go. So take that and put it on the internet and, exponential. It's like, but, I think also as we learn ourselves better, as we learn more about ourselves and we understand ourselves more, I think that we get a little less hardcore about things too. I think we are like, oh, okay, this is how I am. And the people I work with are like this. And okay, I got to let go of that more sometimes. Or it makes us better at what we do, not in a masking way, but literally how do we contend with situations? It makes us better.
Yeah. And how can you help other people learn their own ways to do that?
Yes. And I think because we see so much of the same stuff being like the more masses.
Yeah.
That when people start working with people who actually do this day in and day out, who aren't these like huge influencers trying to build for the masses. I'm not here to necessarily build for the masses, but I do want to help a massive amount of women.
Right. You want to make an impact. But that doesn't mean you have to go viral. It doesn't mean you have to do some of the things. And I think that's the thing when the internet gets noisy, it can be difficult to block that out because we run online businesses.
Right.
But I've had to go through periods too where I'm like, I just need to mute some people. I just need to not go on Instagram. I need to schedule content instead of going on for a couple of weeks. Like, whatever. And even knowing, like, my strategist side of my brain is like, that's not as good. It's okay. It's okay for a couple of weeks to make this accommodation for myself, because when my brain gets real noisy with all this input, I just am it's so much easier to spiral.
Right.
You know? And sometimes it's almost like I need a palate cleanser. It's like I need to like completely just detox for a hot sec.
Right.
Because I found some, especially Threads, if I am on there a lot, it just is a lot of information.
Do you use Meta Business Suite?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's such a freaking sanity saver right there. Like, I hardly ever log in except for if I'm being social on social.
Yes.
Or a couple times a day where I go and check my DMs. Besides that, like, I stopped going down the scroll hole a long time ago because it just doesn't do me any good, especially when I put my blinders on for 6 months. That was so educating for me because once I saw how it affected me when I was watching others and what they do, because maybe the word I use is similar or the idea I have is similar. Now I'm like, it's not original to me. I can't do it. Wrong answer. I can do whatever the fuck I want as long as it's not, as long as I'm not taking a trademark name with a trademark framework and it's something I thought of.
It doesn't matter if there's similarities.
Correct. And I think that there's so much of that going on that our brains are like, and then we have trouble going for something when we've done it. We see it. So those things have just taken that away. Yeah. But I also know that we have impulsivity. We can't always do that. So it's like, I know I have seasons where I can do it better. So when you do have a season where you can like tune it out or turn it off for a while, I love it. And repurposing content. There's so many ways to show up on social media with barely showing up.
Yes. Well, and I think, I knew for a while I wanted to do different kind of visibility, different marketing, that long form was going to be my friend. And like you're saying, like you can pull content out. And I also understood for a long time the value of borrowing trusted audiences. Right?
Yes.
That trust chain, as I call it, is a thing. It's just like any other referral, but this is on a bigger scale. And so when summits and all that stuff started to become a thing, I was like, oh, that would probably work for me. I was not in the place I could do it. And in fact, the first one I got into this year, my goal was to show up, was to apply. I was like, I did it. I applied, because how many had I seen and not taken any action?
Right.
And so I felt safe because I work with them all the time. Jenny and Meredith are my coaches. And I was like, I feel safe. I love this community. I'm just going to apply. It's imperfect. I did it like an hour before the deadline, of course. And I was just like, oh, wow, and I celebrated the fuck out of that, because it was the show up. It was the follow through. Like we're talking about with like building that trust. I was like, I said I was going to apply to this and I'm going to do it. Messy. I'm not going to probably love what I put.
Right.
And I'm just going to let it go. And I celebrated that weekend. I was like, oh my God, I like applied. And then they sent me an email. They're like, you're in. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? I was like, wait, what? And I was like, that was not, you're changing my plans.
That was part of the plan.
I was like, you're changing my plans. And it was one of those moments, like you're talking about how you reacted to the book you were reading. I was like, what? Like all the physical reactions, like mouth. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And I sent back and I was like, I literally screamed when I saw this because I was happy and like, what the fuck? It was such a moment of like,
that's awesome.
And it was probably one of the biggest stretches I've done in a while because, there's just so many things that I feel like go into putting yourself out there in that way. And I was like, sure, here it is. Let's do this. Great experience. And I am now going to do my second one, which we're in the same summit.
Wow.
I know. So now doing the Neurodiverse Entrepreneurs Summit.
I might know a thing or two about that.
You might know.
I
might know. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And even that one, I was like, I had to change. And it's very difficult. My brain, of course, wants the certainty that doesn't exist. I want to know this is going to work.
Correct.
And a lot of times, the focusing on the outcome, what's going, and you rehearse it in your brain. So we're real great at that.
Yes.
And so part of the work, I think, for me this year was it's about the showing up. It's what I can do.
Yes.
And shifting my focus to, wow, look how many times I did that. Or I want to show up X times on stories this week because I'm trying to get people on a call, right? And it's like, I'm not focusing how many people booked the call. I mean, I have a goal I want to hit, but like, that's not week to week, day to day what I'm trying to focus on.
Right.
I'm trying to be like, I showed up.
Yes.
I put I want to look back and be like, you did X, X, X. That didn't work. I hated that.
Right.
Like, starting to, and listen, there are good times and bad times with that. There are times your brain's like, this is data. It's data.
Yeah.
We're just following through. And then there's other times where you're like, nobody clicked on my link. And you know what I mean? Like it's accepting that. And I think when you're I think it takes time to get to the point where you don't immediately jump to the meaning when you start to have those feelings that they're just feelings.
We put meanings on things that are so not. I finally started when my husband would roll his eyes or would say, and I don't mean that in a bad way, like something that's his own reaction or response. And I will be like, okay, what is that about? Because in my mind, I would make it about one thing when what he was rolling his eyes at was actually a thought he was having about something different that had nothing to do with what I was saying. Yeah. So I was giving that meaning. So when I ask more questions, now that I know this about myself, it makes me a better mentor, right?
Yes,
when we learn ourselves better, we become better at what we do. Like I no longer say, I think that if you work with me, no, like I know exactly what happens to clients when they work with me. I can tell you almost month to month what happens when they start working with me and how it all goes down. And this is across industries. This is different types of neurodivergence. This is different business styles. This is using different modalities to obtain business. One client just has a podcast and a newsletter. Yeah. She's not on social media except if she wants to be.
It doesn't have to be even you, like how you help people. That's why frameworks were so hard for me is we adapt to what's going to help the person in front of us.
Correct.
Or the group in front of us. It's less, here's exactly how I get. So whenever someone would ask me, so how do you help people? I'm like, I was like, I can't, like, I'm a response person. Like I have all of this. I need to, like, I respond and help and lead based off of what's in front of me and what problem they need to solve.
Correct.
It's not, here's how I do things and I'm going to walk you through this perfect strategy. I don't do that.
And what you can do is say, I'm a polymath and I know a lot when it comes to tech. So when it comes to behind the scenes and when it comes to how to make different things talk to each other or how the backside of your entire business, how it talks to itself and how it talks to you. Right. So that's that it's hard to describe that.
Right. Well, and I think that's what I was going through a lot last year because also our brains, the meaning and all of that. You want something that describes you well, you know? And I kept leading with the back end and being an OBM or an integrator, which yes, all of that. But I was leaving out the thing that I did, which is why my clients kept me, which is why my clients were getting these huge results, had nothing to do with my operational skills or the tech skills I have, which are great and give a different flavor when I'm working with someone and they're saying, shit just feels real chaotic. Like it's a part of what I'm looking at big picture, but it's not the only thing. And it was hard because I was safe, it was safe to lead with. I can do X for you, and you're going to have X when you leave. I love that. My brain wants to be like, this is exactly what you're going to leave with.
Yes.
Ambiguity it's difficult.
Yes.
And so I had to learn and trust that I didn't have to lead with, I can help you plan your launch. I can.
Yes.
But that's a very small part of what I do overall.